What's up everybody, my name is Draven, aka DravoHD, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm just going to be playing an online game of Madden 20, online head-to-head. I'm going to be using the Browns, of course. If you guys saw in my first video, my favorite football team is the Cleveland Browns, and I figured today I'd talk a little bit about the Browns. Obviously the NFL draft is happening later this month, and I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to see what the Browns do with that number 10 overall pick. I personally think we should go after either another linebacker or an offensive tackle. Obviously the tackle is probably more of a need because our offensive line was atrocious last year. Basically, I think the Browns' big problem in 2019 was a lot of people blame Baker, and Baker definitely regressed. He definitely didn't look as good, but I think some of the reason of why he regressed was because of the coaching and the play calling. A lot of the play calling was it was really predictable at times. Freddie Kitchens constantly wanted to go downfield when he was throwing the ball. He was throwing the ball way too much, wasn't taking advantage of the fact that we had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which I personally think, talent-wise, is the best running back duo, and it's not that close. Because, I mean, those are two guys who can be top 5 backs in the league. One of them's already still a top 5 back, and then Kareem Hunt was a top 5 back, in my opinion, until obviously the things happened with him that got him out of Kansas City. So Freddie didn't take advantage of that enough, I don't think, and his play calling, when they were throwing the ball, they were constantly running out of shotgun and running a lot of 5 wide with big, deep downfield concepts. Big, deep downfield concepts to try and kind of make big splashes and big plays. And the issue with that is people knew that we could rush Baker and put him under pressure and force him to make bad decisions, and it ended up making him very antsy in the pocket, and he would throw a lot of interceptions. That's what made Baker look so bad. I still think Baker's the guy. I think Odell and Jarvis will thrive under this new offense. The new offense with Kevin Stefanski will likely be the play caller, will likely style around like 2 tight end sets and basically protecting Baker. And we even made moves on the offensive line by signing Jack Conklin, who is probably the best right tackle in that whole class, who can also play left tackle. I'm sure he'll play right, though. And he's a good pass protector as a right tackle. A definite upgrade over Chris Hubbard. And I imagine we'll look towards a left tackle. And if we hit with that 10th pick at left tackle, if we get, I like Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. That's the guy I personally want. I think he's solid. If we hit on that pick and get a good left tackle, that now means we have 4 strong points on the line, and that makes the right guard job a lot easier for whoever's there. We brought in Austin Hooper, who we gave him probably too much money, but I think it's okay because we have the money to give guys too much money. It was a good enough deal because if we use a lot of 2 tight end sets, we'll have him and David Njoku, which Njoku, even though he's struggled, he's had injury problems, he's talented, right? And he can still make big plays if needed. It'll work out well, in theory. And also, Kevin Stefanski's probably going to be a lot smarter of a play caller than Freddie. I'm sure he'll mix it up a lot. I know he'll take advantage of those running backs, and he'll make the offense a lot easier for Baker, so Baker should have a better year around that kind of an offense instead of what Freddie was putting him in last year. And as far as the defensive side of the ball, our one real loss was Joe Schobert, and because he's a tackle machine, he was solid in coverage. We brought in a vet, B.J. Goodson, just like as another veteran there, and honestly, that's our one need on defense, in my opinion, is another linebacker that can play well in coverage and can stop the run. Probably also need a run-stopping defensive lineman, and we brought in Andrew Billings from the Bengals for that, and then we also brought in Adrian Claiborne, who's a good pass rusher who can play D-tackle and D-end. So I'm optimistic about the defense. We brought in Joe Woods to be our defensive coordinator, who I think is smart and will game plan the defense well. We got rid of Demarius Randall, who was a huge disappointment last year after a really good 2018 season. And we brought in Andrew Sendejo and Carl Joseph to be our safeties, and those are 2 vets that can get the job done, that aren't necessarily elite, but they're solid, and so I think that's fine. I think our corners will be just fine, because when we were healthy and we had Greedy and Denzel and they were healthy, we were fine. We could play good enough coverage, and I think Greedy's a really solid corner. I do like what could possibly happen with the defense as long as we can shore up the linebackers and make sure that they're good enough to get the job done. Because Mac Wilson's really solid. Sione Takitaki, I think, has the potential to be like, I'm not going to name a player, but a guy that can just be a tackle machine, hard-nosed, blue-collar, and just get a lot of tackles and be basically on the ball every play, similar to what Joe Schobert could offer. I think the defense could be solid because the defense was solid last year when we were healthy. We were always solid early on in games, but when our offense was struggling, that kind of took the defense out of the game. And our defense didn't have a ton of fight to it. And I think with Joe Woods there, he was there with the 49ers for a while. I think he'll help out, kind of give this defense a little bit of a push and give them more fight and like want to win a little more than they did last year. So I'm excited to see what goes on there. So from a roster standpoint, as long as we hit well in the draft, if we get a good tackle, probably draft a linebacker, maybe another defensive lineman, and they're all at least good enough and get the job done for the value that we draft them at, I think it could be good and we could win 9, 10, 11 games potentially on paper. And it's just about how that coaching meshes and how the front office runs. I think our ownership is obviously terrible, but can't really help that. So I'm excited to see what happens. I think Baker will be a lot better. I think the chemistry between him and the receivers will be a lot better. And I think we'll utilize the run game a lot more. I think our defense, as long as our defense just picks up where they left off last season when they were still healthy, we'll be fine. And yeah, I think it'll be good. But that's all I really have to talk about. We'll just finish out this Superstar KO, and that'll be the rest of the video.
Snap out of your trance and hocus pocus. They'll throw here.
No way.